Welcome to More Important Issues. It is Wednesday, April 14th. It's a great day to be. First off, I didn't expect today to go like it did. I'll be honest. I didn't expect all the good news. We went to bed happy last night after a grinded out victory, which I think is the best way to describe this baseball team anyways, over Western Carolina. Wake up to maybe what I thought was going to just be a normal Wednesday. I wouldn't call this a normal Wednesday.
Yeah, it was full of good news. When's the last time that's ever happened?
Are you wait? Are we counting the guy who got arrested in a Casey Clausen jersey?
That was 2 days ago. So
that
just
was 2 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's out of it.
Good deal. Did we confirm if that was a Tennessee jersey? I saw some people throw around that might have been a throwback Buccaneers jersey. Had to be Tennessee. It was in Murfreesboro, so I know where my money lies.
Right.
I know where my money lies. We're gonna talk about spring practice. I'm ready. I'm ready to get this show going. So I'm ready to talk basketball. I'm ready to talk baseball as we welcome Vandy in. So I'm ready to get going. So we've got spring practice notes. We're also going to talk about Tennessee football. Got some good news on the recruiting front. Some what we would call much needed news after not having one in this cycle yet. We're also going to talk about, like I said, basketball recruiting, transfer portal, all that good news. We're also going to talk about baseball gets that win over Western Carolina. Wasn't necessarily the prettiest, but hey, you got to grind out games like that. Weekday games can be tough. You're catching opponents on weird nights, catching yourself on a weird night. You're maybe playing some guys you don't normally stick in the lineup there. But the bottom line is you just go win. That's the expectation, is you just go win. And Tennessee did that.
Yeah, and Vanderbilt played Eastern Kentucky last night, and they won 6-4. So they just won by 2 runs as well. Obviously, you don't want a team like that to score that many runs, but when they're on, they're on. There's not a lot you can do about it. All you can do is match it. Tennessee was able to do that and squeak away at the end. So a win's a win.
Win is a win is a win is a win. Guys, if you got questions, drop them in the chat. Tell us where you're listening from. I know we've got people from all over. Tell us the time zone. Give us a good idea where it's at. I know it's getting – I'm tired. The moment it gets dark, I guess it's the old man in me. I'm like ready for bed. But I'm going to tough it out here with you all for a minute. And then I'm going to bed literally right as we get off here because I'm old. So
I'm tired. Have you watched the new Melissa McCarthy movie on Netflix?
I don't. What is it called?
Thunder Force? No,
I haven't.
I started watching it. It's a movie to like go to sleep to.
Not that good.
Sense. It's like it's funny, but it's not something like you have to pay a ton of attention to. So yeah, if you're going to bed and you have to watch TV like my wife does, that's something that you can put on.
We are clearly not sponsored by this movie because that was not a ringing endorsement from Landon for that one.
No, but let me tell you about some sponsors real quick. So go check out our friends at Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. Here is a kind of a message from our friends at Blue Water Climate Control. Check that out.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something. And it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
Guys, I do need to mention one more time before we get going. We're about to start the show. Drop the questions in the chat. If we don't get to them right away, I promise we'll answer them. We want to talk. Let's talk. Guys, we'll see you on the other side. Hey, tell your friends. Text your friends. Tweet at your friends. We're more than Danny White. You can tweet at your friends. Tell them to come hang out with us. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Got it by Tennessee to one Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Wednesday, April 14th. Like I said before, I was not prepared when I woke up this morning to bring. I come bearing good news, and I didn't expect that. I'll be honest. I didn't expect bad news. That wasn't it. I just was not. I mean, it's hilarious, the roller coaster that is. I'm mostly on Twitter, so for all you guys that are on Facebook and YouTube, I don't mean to leave you out. But the roller coaster of emotions that Vol Twitter is. It's what makes it fun. But I mean, yesterday everyone went to bed, and if you had polled them then, they'd have been like, yeah, fire Rick Barnes. Now it's like, oh, this is why we paid the man. This is.
I know what the good news come from. It was because your birthday was last night, man.
It was. That's it.
Happy birthday. Well, you're finally, how old? 26.
26. Everyone at work was like, he's at least 30. Like, there's no chance he's younger than 30. They're like, yeah. They were like, so you finally, you made it through 30, right? You're 31. And no, so that was, it was fun though. So, they were like, hey, we can't do any good news on Kayla's birthday. That doesn't make sense. So right. let's push it back one more day. So yeah, that was how that went.
Yeah, you kicked it off.
Exactly.
So yeah, I appreciate it. That was all you.
You're welcome.
Did you have a good birthday?
I did. I had a great birthday. I mean, not how the old birthdays were spent, the younger days of maybe or anything like that. But I had good pizza. I had Emily made me a fruit pizza. I had two types of pizza. So
what's a fruit pizza?
It is legitimately just a sugar cookie with like cream cheese icing and fruit on top. It's not healthy. It kind of sounds healthy, but it is just a sugar cookie. You're like, let's throw some strawberries on there. That's it. It's good. I'm not bashing it in any way. I love it. It's just not healthy. It's like being like, yeah, vegetarian pizza, and there's nothing vegetarian about it.
Well, today, like
vegan, I guess.
Yeah, one of my colleagues, if you will, he's vegan, and I was like, yeah, I just finally started eating like guacamole, and he was like, yeah, that's like the most unhealthiest thing you can eat because apparently it's got a bunch of fat in it. I don't know. So
isn't it good to eat fat sometimes?
I guess, but like even when I try to eat healthy, I guess it's not healthy enough. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Why do we even try?
Right.
It's stupid. Why do we even try?
If they wouldn't make the food so expensive, I might try to eat healthier.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to run over. My laptop's not charging. So why don't you take us into spring practice, and I'm gonna get this before it dies.
All right. So spring practice. It sounds like Tennessee is kind of getting healthier. Got some guys back today or yesterday. Jalen Hyatt, Tylen Evans, Tyler Barron, Jaquan Blakely. We're all back on the practice field. So I think that's good. Especially from a defensive standpoint, when you look at like maybe who they're missing during the open practice, because the defense kind of struggled a little bit. But when you look at who they're missing, maybe there were some key guys there that would have made a difference. So I don't know that for sure, but it's good to have those guys back and ready because Saturday that's the main scrimmage. The orange and white game that's not the main scrimmage. This is the main scrimmage. It's closed to the public. I feel like the orange and white game is more for like entertainment, and this is what we're going to do. But I think this main scrimmage on Saturday is what coaches are. This is what people shoot for.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You'll see. I think with this staff, I mean, if they did an open practice and I think you'll see like I think the orange and white game will be more football than it has the past couple years. More so like how it was with Butch Jones. Don't want it to ever be like that again. But I mean, this is kind of the build up week. The orange and white game is kind of like almost like the party to end spring practice. So yeah, it's definitely not as hard as the next couple days, even after this scrimmage on Saturday is going to be.
Right. Yeah. I think that the orange and white game is more for just kind of entertainment. And this is how you move at the depth chart. This Saturday scrimmage. Move up the depth chart, get your name out there. Maybe do some things, kind of set you apart a little bit from guys that might be right with you heading into the scrimmage.
Right. So as far as spring practice goes, you've had guys meeting with the media specifically today, whose names that maybe you were already thinking about, kind of confirmed, guys that you're surprised to hear are doing so well.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that Cooper and Cade got to do the Zoom meeting kind of together. I thought that was pretty cool, just from a brother standpoint. You don't really see that, and then the new age of Zoom, I thought that was nice to see. But I think Jerome Carvin and Cooper Mays pointed out who the hardest guy to block was, and it was Elijah Simmons. That's a name we've talked about a little bit, but not a ton. And that's a guy that could really make some noise. And they said he's bringing a new kind of flavor to it this year. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we know his size tells you he's just kind of a very much a space saver at nose tackle, defensive tackle. But if you know anything about him, the kid's pretty athletic, so he should, hopefully help this team and help this defensive line, who's overall, and I think Tracy Rocker kind of mentioned it, not a very, very talented defensive line.
Tracy Rocker or Rodney Garner?
Rodney Garner. What I said?
I was like
Tracy Rocker probably said it too at some point.
Yeah, I thought you were bringing back an old quote from Rocker. I was like, man, that was a while ago.
It's certainly, it's possible he did say that, but
that was 4 defensive line coaches ago.
Yeah, if you count that one. Yes, sorry. Rodney Garner, kind of said it like this is not just like a star-studded defensive line. And Cole just said, he said someone mentioned Byron Young too, correct? I think Cade Mays actually mentioned him as well, but earlier when the coaches met, Rodney Garner also mentioned Byron Young as a guy who's been kind of making some noise there at the defensive line position.
Yeah, when we talked about them, when we talked about the open practice, I thought he kind of stood out as an edge rusher. He kind of looks the part as far as Tyler Barron fits the part of like a defensive end, but when you look at it like a true edge rusher, that looks more like a linebacker, I think that's what kind of Byron Young seems like to me. And obviously Tyler Barron didn't practice in the open scrimmage, but Byron Young did, and I thought he really flashed. So, I'm not surprised that some of those guys are pointing him out as well.
Yeah, that's a name that, when it's getting mentioned by coaches and players, that's obviously good for Byron Young. And we'll get into needs at some point. There's a lot of needs in that defensive side of the ball, but finding an edge rusher is a huge need that Tennessee, if they're going to have any success defensively, and hopefully when you talk about success for this team, as far as defensively goes, you're just kind of looking to make a couple big plays here and there. Obviously, you're going to see Tennessee's focus completely shift from where it was, style of play shift from where it was with the previous staff, and look more like a lot of people want it to look like in terms of how football is shifting in the SEC. But you still need defensive plays. That's still something. Yeah, sure. We're not talking about, completely grinding out series and keeping offenses, out of the end zone all the time. But if you're going to win ball games, your defense has to make plays. And if you don't have an edge rusher, you can almost, look at last year's team. You can almost consider yourself never to make plays. Right.
Yeah. You got to have a guy that's going to, garner some attention from an offense, double teams, maybe send the quarterback out where he's not right up against an edge rusher like that. Like Derek Barnett, he got so much attention from opposing offenses, and I think that made everybody else a little better because they were focusing in on him every single play.
Yeah, it definitely helped guys on that defensive line. The first one that pops in your head, which we're sitting here going now, and I know it's one of your favorite names to throw out as far as underrated. You're like, hey, if we had Corey Vereen, he would be the number one guy, no doubt. But it also helped that you have Derek Barnett on the other side, so you're almost never getting double teamed. The protection's almost never sliding to you. So that definitely helps out. If you can get one guy that can, like you said, garner the attention, it's going to open up some lanes for some other guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And another guy I keep hearing a lot about is Dane Davis, the walk-on that's apparently going with the ones right now as a tackle. So that's interesting to me because, was it 2 years ago we had Brooks, I think. He was like a converted tight end that played tackle for a couple games. Do you remember that?
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so I mean that's what it makes me think of, like, oh, we're that thin, but apparently the dude has just worked his butt off to get where he's at. So, he's a big kid. He's not a converted tight end. He's an actual offensive
Right.
lineman. But when you hear that walk on, you're like, oh man, that's going to be a struggle. But
Right.
if he's giving guys, pushing guys and maybe even passing, like guys like Calvert or Darnell Wright, I mean.
Right.
You got to tip your hat to the kid.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned if he's passing guys up. I'm not familiar with specifically with the offensive lineman that you're referring to, but those couple of years, there were a lot of walk-ons, whether they had earned a scholarship or not. When they arrived on campus, walk-ons that were needed, that were seeing pretty significant playing time. And it's a little bit – the offensive line, I'll give Jeremy Pruitt that. They addressed that need. They did. The offensive line is not there now. I've got to think if there's a guy, if there's a walk-on making an impact, yeah, I'm sure it needs part of it for sure. But that means he's probably playing pretty good football at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of interesting to me because he's like 6'7", I think probably close to 300 pounds. So that's – I mean, if he can play in this offense, because I think a lot of it has to do with fit anyway. If you're not a guy that can get up and down the field, You're probably not going to last in this offense very long. So, I think it kind of gave some guys that maybe were down a little bit in the depth chart to maybe have an opportunity to be able to compete for a starting spot.
Right.
And then, I'm creating the D-Back with fan club. I'm taking members, so if you want to pay some fees to be in this fan club, just let me know. But
is he the number one back, or are you allowed to say it since you're the president of the fan club? Like, can you officially say yes or no?
Number one back, I will say no, just because okay. I think Jabari Small is probably your number one back. We've heard a ton of praise from him or about him, so. I think D. Beckwith is going to be used in a ton of ways. So not just at running back. I think that'll be part of it. Maybe they go split back at times, but I could see him being in the slot and being a mismatch for linebackers and stuff like that. I think that would – why confine somebody with that much talent to one position? You don't need to. He can play so many positions.
I mean, I would certainly agree with that sentiment. You could play him at one position and flex him his use in so many ways. He can be a running back, and those ways you just mentioned, split backs, obviously, you can put him out in the slot. He can be a running back and be that guy. You don't have to teach him a completely other new position to do those things. You can make it a versatile position. The thing that immediately when you started mentioning how he could be used, I was like, so how Butch Jones should have used Alvin Kamara.
Exactly.
But this is a guy who you don't have to motion all the way out to the slot. He can, I mean, Kamara was physical too, but he was probably not going to be blocking for Jalen Hurd. D-Beck was big enough that he could block for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, seeing him run over that safety in the open practice, you're like, oh man.
He's a monster. He's a monster.
And that's why I tweeted today. I was like, I want to know. I want to tally. I want somebody to keep a tally of how many people he runs over at practice. And I want to know that tally every single day.
Are they going full tilt every single? I saw it looked like they were full tilt yesterday, I guess.
Full tilt, baby. If you're on the practice field, we're going full tilt. There's no shells. I hate that. Shells.
It's a little strange for an offensive guy to be going this much, right? Usually the offensive guys are fitting. That's it. They just fit. We aren't bringing guys to the ground.
Maybe they are trying to fit. He's just running over the top of them.
Well, when you got a guy, that's got his chili's always hot.
That's right. Yeah.
It's tough to just go shells and fit. I mean, the chili's hot. It's hot. There's nothing you can do about it. That stuff don't cool off quickly.
You can either take it or you can take it.
I love it.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan. I wish we could have got him the ball last year. I think we could have used it, especially with our offensive struggles. Whatever. I'm not getting into that because I'll never understand.
Right. Well, let's kind of transition that. Unless you have anything else you want to mention about spring practice, let's get into some of those because there's definitely going to have to be some changes from whatever took place on the field last year, and even some additional ones with some guys you lost. Your quarterback that transferred went 8 for 8, 115 yards in a scrimmage and no interceptions. So you got to replace that. That's a big need that this team's going to need to replace.
Can we get into that a little bit?
I mean, what can you really get into? It's like you can't present it with context because like it has to be presented without context and you just have to laugh about it. That's it.
But let's add something to it a little bit. Quentin Dormady went 10 for 10 for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in the 2017 Orange and White game. So, I mean, there's your I guess that's your context.
I don't know. I think you just have to say this is what he did. That's it. Like that, because like you said, you can't be like, oh, he's going to be good, or you also can't say, oh, he's going to be bad from that. You just have to go up. That's what he did.
Yep, I guess.
Because that man could go out and throw for 300 yards in his first game if he's a starter, and I'm still going, wait for next week before you make a decision.
Exactly.
So just do with those stats what you will.
He's going to blow it up, isn't he? Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious. I can't wait. I'm pumped. all you can do, hey, you can get on the train or get run over by it. I'm getting on. I already bought my number 2. Actually, he's not wearing number 2. What number is he wearing?
18.
I'm wearing – oh, nice. Little ode to Peyton Manning maybe?
Maybe.
I'm getting my number 18 Washington State jersey. I've already ordered it, so it's on its way.
And now he's like a lifetime member of the Manning Passing Academy now. He's been for so long.
That's true. That's very true. Is he still a camper or is he coaching now? When do you transition?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not sure. Yeah, look, that Johnny Manziel should know. He's gotten kicked out enough. Yeah,
he's probably got like his own room.
That must be nice. I've been there. Those dorms when in 2007, 6, they were not nice at all.
He's probably got like a whole building named after him. He's been camping there for so long.
Good for him. His dad probably paid for it.
Probably.
All right, let's talk about some needs for this defensive.
I got one more.
That's all of my needs. Okay,
I got one more question for you.
I feel like I'm not going to want to answer.
If you had to put money on it, who is most likely to be in the Heisman race, JG or JT Shrout?
I don't know anything about why. Like, I don't know.
No context. No context.
You're right. I mean, because I don't know much about Colorado. But, like, if Washington State still does the air raid Mike Leach stuff, then JG. But I don't know anything. I have no clue if they do that. Do they? Just
like you got a gun to your head, you got to put money on somebody who you throwing money at.
Okay, JT. Easy.
Yeah, I would too.
But again,
JG is not taking any more of my money. If I lose it betting against him, that's fine. I'll take that bet.
But again, if they're still running the air raid, yeah, I mean that's easy to do. Much easier to do. Your stats are inflated.
How many picks does he throw?
It doesn't matter. He's going to throw touchdowns somehow. It doesn't matter.
To one team.
Maybe. Exactly. That's all that matters. Are there points on the board, Coach? Thank you.
His name is definitely in the box score.
I do. I'm glad he transferred. He doesn't need to be at Tennessee anymore. And I don't mean that meanly. That's not a word, I don't think. I don't mean that to be mean. It was time to part ways.
And you mean it. You mean
No, I really don't mean it to be mean. It just wasn't working. Like, I'm with everyone else. Like, he seemed to try his hardest when he was at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Good for him. Thank you. But like it just wasn't working, and Tennessee clearly wasn't going to be like, "Hey, dude, get the F out." So because they probably,
or just not play him. They wouldn't do that either. It's incredible. It's like anything I've ever seen in my entire life. I'll never understand it.
Yeah, like it was clearly time to move on. So,
all right, let's get into some needs. Sorry, I just want to.
No. Since you did that to me, I'm gonna. This isn't really asking you a question. I just want to be. How do we get videos from those quarterback meetings last fall? Because they couldn't have made sense.
Oh no. Or JG is like literally the best practice player of all time.
Maybe.
I want to know what other players like I want to interview a player from last year and just be like, dude, you saw those quarterbacks every single day. Who would you start?
If I had 5+ players go, JG, I'd finally believe it.
Yeah, but there's no way they think that.
They have to say like his play was above and beyond the others. Like if they're just like he tried hard, like that's cool because I'm sure he did.
He's tough.
I'm sure he tried hard. Like I'm not asking would you ride with him. I'm asking was he good in practice? Not did he show up? Not was he there on time? Not was he an encourager? All captain team, which he also wasn't a captain. I would like to be clear about that. But
yikes.
I'm with you. Yeah, I want to know what was because we've all played sports. We all know those guys that we're like, how the hell are they playing right now? And somebody, and you know what? Maybe if players were just honest, because I know the type of guys where you're like, that guy shouldn't have been playing, but he's also the only guy that should be playing.
Right.
I know that type. And if we're just going to sit there and go, the other quarterbacks are that bad, that's fine. I just want to know.
Yeah, if you're a former player, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear the story.
Even
if you don't want to put it on, if you don't want to come on the show, just like give us a call and we would love to
do it anonymously. We'll keep everything anonymous.
Yeah, you can use the voiceover thing.
Yes, we'll do the where it's just your figure and like a creepy like blah, 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 blah. Yeah. JG was the best quarterback in Tennessee football history on the Haslam practice field. Like that creepy voice. Yeah, we'll do that.
Oh man, that's great. We should actually do
that.
There's no way a player does that.
No, we should do it and say it was a player. Like we should do it.
We should.
No, like how would you know it's anonymous? Prove it. I know some of these people make up their own. Like the people that do anonymous mailbags. I know they make them up. I'm like that is exactly how you type. That's you. I know who that was. So yeah, we should do that.
Should.
And good luck proving it. How are you going to prove it? You can't. So good luck.
All right, let's get in some needs.
Needs. Hey, I'm going to start with. We were talking about Byron Young, Tyler Barron, all those guys. I'm going to start there. That's the defense. You need an edge rusher, and I know we've said it over and over and over again. But if you have an edge rusher, number one, it's going to help your linebackers out, especially in the pass game, tremendously. And you're going to be very, very thin at linebacker. Now we can get into how they're going to handle the run game later because I'm sure that's a need that one of us will mention. But a good edge rusher can clean up a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and especially with the offenses nowadays, like you have to have somebody coming off the edge and having production, because if you don't, you're just going to get eaten alive in the passing game. And you saw that last year. Tennessee didn't really have a ton of production. DeAndre Johnson had a game or two. Kevon Bennett had a game or two. But other than that, they kind of got eaten alive.
Yes, for sure. And it needs to, this defense is going to have a long way to go this season.
Right. But one thing I do want to mention about the defense is like if they do get healthy, and I think that's a huge need, is just getting healthy, getting guys on the field.
Right.
Roman Harrison and Jeremy Banks, which those are two kind of you would think to be at least in your 2 deep middle linebackers, probably, a starter and probably in your 2 deep. And, neither one of those guys are practicing right now. You were able to get Tyon Evans, Jalen Hyatt, Tyler Barron, Jaquan Blakely back, but some of those guys were running routes and doing kind of some individual work, but weren't really going that 11 on 11 stuff. So I think you need to get healthy as a team, and you need to continue to get better each and every game. And I think that's not a hard task for this defense to do. Whereas last year, you had high hopes for that defense.
Yeah.
And they just kind of digressed as the season went on. I think this team needs to get better and better as the season goes.
Yeah, and you mentioned like a hard task for this defense. I said it, or I alluded to it earlier. You don't need to just be a stand-up, shut-down defense. You just need to make plays. Hopefully, I mean, that's the bottom line, is if the offense can't score, that's it. Like Josh Heupel's not going to – unless Tim Banks is way better than anyone thinks, unless Josh Heupel – is able to completely shift his play calling. It's not just going to be like, all right, our defense, let's pretend somehow game 3, they're like, oh, this is our strong suit. They're not going to shift the way they play and slow the game down. So it's just going to be, it is what it is. The offense is going to have to find ways to score.
Yeah, and when, I know they were doing, the last practice, they were doing a lot of turnover drills. And when the ball's on the ground or you get your hands on a pass, Tennessee has to come up with or come down with the ball. You can't lead the nation and drop picks like we did last year. I don't know if that's actually a true stat, but
it's real.
It felt like it. It really did feel like it. So I mean, you got to come up with those opportunities when they come.
Absolutely. I don't really have a ton. I know we've just I don't have a ton of needs because that's really, I know we've gone over them a lot. Linebacker, I mean, there's a lot defensively. I mean, I really have a ton of confidence in Josh Heupel's offense. Being able to kind of play with whoever. And I think, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree because of kind of what we joked about a minute ago with JG starting over him. I think there's enough talent in the quarterback room that there's going to be a quarterback on this roster that can lead the offense. I really believe that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what you're looking for. From what I've gathered is like no one's really separated themselves, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a good thing because maybe, some of those guys are improving, but it's also like who's your true guy,
right?
And hopefully somebody does separate themselves. They got till I guess September to really do that, but from what I've gathered so far, no one's really separated themselves. So I don't know kind of how to read that.
Yeah, and that may be more like you don't have to name a starter right now, so. You're not. Why would you even hint at it? I think the orange and white game was going to tip a lot to you. No, I mean it's not going to. They're not going to name a starter, but I think the orange and white game will tip off who's in the lead. I don't think they're installing a new offense. I don't think they're going to pull any punches and try to. I don't see them trying to hide anything. They're going to go with. This isn't a second-year coach, third-year coach that has a guy he knows who the starter is. I think you'll have a really, really good idea who the number 1 and number 2 guy are come April 24th.
Yeah,
at least as it stands right now.
Right, because I mean, like if Tennessee was actually playing that day, the first guy who's probably out there in 11 on 11 is probably your guy. As of right now, yeah, that could change come September. But if Tennessee was playing that day, that would probably be who they'd go with.
Yeah, right.
Another kind of need for me is I think they got to hammer the transfer portal. It's there. You might as well take advantage of it. I mean,
it's tough to do with that's the problem.
That's true. Tennessee has some, the one-time transfer rule. I mean, they have to do something with that limit. They have to. Because, I mean, Tennessee got destroyed with the transfer portal. Other teams are taking advantage of it from Tennessee's standpoint. So Tennessee needs to see if they can, do the thing that they got the linebacker from Texas that, apparently has some interest in Tennessee. I don't know how much, but I think they should add a linebacker, a defensive back, and then I don't think an offensive lineman couldn't hurt.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely some positions you can elevate in the transfer portal for sure.
Yeah, any linebacker, I'd be like, hey, what's up?
Oh, if you could go find 4 linebackers in the transfer portal, go do it.
Yeah, if they have any kind of experience, they should be in the 2 deep here.
Right. So go get them. Don't hesitate. Do you have anything else for those needs?
I kind of want to even if it's not starters, I want to be able to play some guys and kind of build to the future. It's not really a I guess it's a need for the fall, but building on some guys. I feel like last year we didn't get enough guys work that are even here now, or guys that like we played a bunch of guys that aren't here anymore. So those other guys didn't get an opportunity when I think they should have. A guy like Danico Slaughter, Jimmy Holiday, Jimmy Callaway, Malachi Wadman, those guys were freak athletes in an offense that wasn't getting anything done. So I know we mentioned it a ton last year. Like, why not give them a shot?
Right.
Get them some experience. So I want to see a lot more of that. I want to see us kind of put games away at times, get some guys in there that, wouldn't necessarily get in there during a close game. And let's build.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I won't say brick by brick, but just build something.
It. Brick by brick. Do it. Who cares? Brick by brick. Do it.
The mailbox. I'll never forget it. Like, that's what we built with all the bricks. We built a mailbox.
Hey, that was a good mailbox, according to Farmer Charlie. Okay.
Allegedly.
All right, let's jump into some recruiting news. Recruiting news all over campus right now.
Yeah, it's been kind of awesome. Getting guys, getting the first commit.
Yeah, I guess
2022 class.
Yeah, I guess let's mention football before we jump into basketball, since there was some news on that front.
Yeah, so you got a 3-star outside linebacker Elijah Herring, out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, at Riverdale High School, 6'2", 225. It's an in-state guy. You want to load down on that in-state talent, and so I think it's good to have the first one. And Josh Heupel's tenure at Tennessee be a kid in state. I think it's going to be tough to recruit in state. We'll get kind of a gauge of where Tennessee's at with some of these in-state recruits on Friday when the Wade twins make their decision. It looks like Kentucky has the momentum. That would be devastating because those are two guys that I think Tennessee really needs to get. And but yeah, let's talk about Elijah Herring a little bit. I mentioned he is the first commit in this 2022 class and also the first commit under Josh Heupel. His brother, Caleb Herring, is a 4-star 2023 class and is the number 1 player in Tennessee. So
little family recruiting. Mentioned the maybe the Mays brothers weren't thrown out on the Zoom call by accident today.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. There you go. Connecting the dots.
Yeah, everything's got a reason to it.
I like it. Yeah, I mean that's smart. I think it's he is an edge rusher, and I think Elijah Herring kind of says that they see him as a middle linebacker type. So maybe he doesn't help this year like we need him to. But I adding more guys to that linebacker room. Because you never know what you're going to have the next year. Tennessee was looking like they were pretty set at linebacker with Crouch and Toto, and now they're gone. So, I think that tells a lot. Like, you can't go a year without recruiting some position,
right?
You never, yeah, exactly. You never know with the one-time transfer rule, and isn't that expected tomorrow?
It's the done deal.
Okay.
NCAA approved it. I'll double check that. I thought so though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which everyone expected it to. Kind of shocked since everyone expected it to that it did. Just seemed like a really NCAA thing to then go, just kidding. But
I also think it's weird, unless you're 100% sure. Which
it has been approved.
Okay, cool.
It isn't official though until the end of Thursday meetings. So something could change, but it's officially unofficial.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well,
unofficially official.
There you go. No more waiting on guys to be approved.
Right.
But yeah, if you're not 100% sure right now, I'm not sure what the hurry is to do a commitment. Like, if you still have 2 schools that you're kind of going back and forth on, why don't you wait until June when you can actually go visit?
Yeah, no. Are you talking about with transfers or with commits?
Commits, sorry.
Okay, no, you're fine. I was saying with transfers, yeah, now that you don't have to do the paperwork and hope you get approved. Yeah, no, definitely wait until you can make that decision. But yeah, with commits, there's no, like you said, there's no, which I guess you can still do the visits after you commit, but yeah, there's no rush.
Right. Yeah. I just think because these guys haven't been able to take official visits ever.
Right.
And haven't probably really been on campus, especially guys that are kind of late bloomers or late getting rated and stuff like that. They probably maybe been to a game or two, but they haven't been consistently on visits
Right.
ever because they were sophomores pretty much when all this stuff happened.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't the Wade twins, if they're 100% sure, cool. But I expect if you're going to take visits, you might as well just hold it off until you've visited these schools.
Right.
And then I mentioned they kind of got the momentum's headed toward Kentucky. They got some crystal balls headed Kentucky's way. Also, Dallin Hayden picks up a crystal ball to Ohio State. So, I mean, if you're not able to land the Wade twins, I think it gets real tough with this in-state crop because, Ty Simpson's gone. Walter Nolan, didn't even have Tennessee in his top 8. You got Jordan James, who's committed to Georgia. So, Tennessee's not looking great with that top-tier talent in the state. So, I think the Wade twins were definitely guys that you want to land.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Let's start talking basketball because we do have some questions about basketball from Graham and Cole here. So we'll definitely we'll get into those now that we're officially to that talk. Tennessee picks up a big commitment today.
Yeah, Jonas Adu gets
and I literally mean big commitment.
Finally getting a big man.
Finally,
I said last week if they don't grab a big man, I'm out. I'm done.
Which is a bold statement for you to say.
It is, but I had faith, a little bit of faith. So yeah, they get Jonas Adu from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a 6'11", 215 pounds center, and the number 60 player overall in the country, number 1 player in North Carolina. Was a Marquette commit, and Tennessee recently just got Marquette's assistant coach, Justin Gainey, and he was Adu's lead recruiter at Marquette. When he left, he decommitted, and Tennessee was in on that from then on.
I thought he had decommitted before that all was – he decommitted. So that whole coaching staff at Marquette left, and he decommitted.
Right, yeah, okay, sorry. March 29th is when he decommitted. And so, like, when Tennessee hired Justin Gainey, I think they were kind of rumored to be in on him. It's a guy – I watched his film a little bit. He can shoot. He's super athletic, lean, a guy that can protect the rim. I think it's a guy that you want in your program because he's not a one and done, I don't think, unless he just has a phenomenal freshman season.
Right.
I think he could be a multiple year player at Tennessee, kind of like Jamon Meshack. I feel like he is. Kennedy Chandler is probably one and done. But with the guys you had this year, I don't think Rick Barnes is going to go after. Obviously, he's going to sign 5 stars if they're wanting to come to Tennessee, but I don't think he's going to center his whole entire team around one and dones.
No, I mean,
that's tough to do.
Yeah, and I mean it's definitely tough to do, but it's also an adjustment you want to make too. There's definitely a balance to it, and I mean, guys have been successful with one and dones, and guys have been successful without them. It's definitely not a fit all scheme, but I mean, obviously, you see with it. I mean, I would have loved to have seen it if. I think, again, a healthy John Fulkerson. And, if you had a big man on campus this year, what this team could have done with Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. So, I mean, I think, those one and dones could have definitely been special, but that's just not how it works. As far as Jonas Adu goes, I mean, I don't see him being a one and done. And that's kind of a question from Graham here. Says, is the 6'11" too lean right now? Yeah, he's going to have to add on some size if he wants to be competitive at his position at the college level. And that's an obvious thing, and that's one thing they'll look to do. But he definitely has the athleticism and the skill. Just adding on some size is definitely going to be something they're going to look to do.
Yeah, Tennessee has a great strength and conditioning program with that basketball team. So, I'm not really worried about him putting on muscle.
Right.
you look at Grant and Admiral's pictures from when they got to campus to when they left. I mean, it was almost two completely different people. So, if he's able to put the work ethic like they did into it, I think he'll be just fine as a post player for Tennessee. He's also the highest rated post player that Rick Barnes has signed since he's been at Tennessee.
Isn't a shock.
And then the highest rated post player Tennessee's had since Jarnell Stokes in 2012.
Yeah, so that's big time. That's gonna be really, really huge for this team, for the makeup of this team, and Brandon Hunley Hatley. Is that it? Is that the right order? Hatfield. That could, and that's going to be depending on committing to Tennessee and reclassifying. Like that's not a guarantee, but this is the first. We talked about Kyle Alexander and how he kind of came along late, and then DJ Burns. I mean, this is going to be one of the first big men that's really been on campus that you expect to play early on.
Yeah, I mean, if you get Brandon Hunley Hatfield, you land Tomba from Knox Catholic. I mean, those are you have legit 3 7-footers,
right?
Or 4 7-footers. I forgot Urosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you're building a wall. They can't score. They can't see the rim.
Are we rounding up?
Yeah, we're rounding up.
We're rounding up. Okay. All right.
So, yeah, I mean, they can't score if they can't see the rim.
That's right? A good point.
I mean, just if Alabama wants to go 4 guards, perfect. We'll go or 4 guards, 1 post. We'll go 1 point guard, Kenny Chandler, and 4 post players.
That's a bold take.
Counterattack, baby.
It would be quite the counter. We're playing opposite there. Would be quite the counter.
Yeah, I would never do that.
No, Cole asked, what would your predicted starting 5 be? He wants Huntley Hatfield to be included in that. Then decided he hadn't committed yet, so we don't have to. So it's up to you. Starting 5 predicted. I know it's early. We're talking November, and we're just in April. But your predicted starting 5, we'll go day 1. Or you can be like, hey, I'll predict the starting 5 for the 2022 National Championship game. You decide.
Okay. I'll go Kennedy Chandler. And I'll go Vescovi. Oh, maybe not. I kind of want to go Justin Powell.
Don't you? A little bit more athletic. Probably going to be more effective defensively.
Yeah, probably Justin
Also,
Powell.
there's some talks of Vescovi maybe not being here next year.
I don't know. That'd be wild. I'd hate that because I really like Vescovi.
Right. I mean, it's going to be easy if the talent stays where it's at. It's going to be easy to get lost in this lineup. You still, you're bringing in a true point guard with Kennedy Chandler, who's not going to be on the bench often. I can't imagine. And then you still have Victor Bailey Jr. You added Justin Powell.
Yeah, I might go – if I want to score points and Tennessee needs to score points, I'm going Kennedy Chandler, Justin Powell, Josiah Jordan James, John Fulkerson, and I don't know. It's – I want to say Brandon Hunley Hatfield, but I also want to say Adu because I think a year in high school makes a huge difference. And, maturity-wise and also, just playing at that level as a junior or you're supposed to be a senior in high school probably is a lot for one to take. So maybe I'll say Adu at the beginning of the season, but Brandon Hunley Hatfield improves over the year and he takes over in March when we go for that Final Four.
Well, I'm not starting a freshman big man until Rick Barnes does it. So I'll believe it when I see it. That's kind of my take on it. I am going to go – I know I kind of argued with you. I talked you out of it. I am going to go at least day 1, Vescovi as a starter at 2. Kenny Chandler at that point. Josiah Jordan James. And I think – see, okay.
Yeah, who else you
get? Well, part of my faith, I want Kumar to make that next step.
Oh,
I feel like he was flirting with that next step this year. Flirting with it, and just something wasn't there. Something wasn't there.
I want to do that. He needs to learn how to flirt because he's got no game.
come on. I mean, he was.
No game is in like talking to women, not saying he can't play basketball. Sorry.
I mean, there were times that he was our best rebounder on the floor, and which isn't good. I mean, but he could add. I mean, there were times very limited, but he was also on a short leash. He was a guy that didn't get a ton of chances if he made one mistake. So like you didn't get to see him work through things on the court. So he is very much a mystery to Tennessee fans. Now, I know Rick Barnes and his staff sees him every day in practice, so they know a lot more about him than Tennessee fans. But we don't know what he did not get a chance to work through things. And then Urosh magically gets a ton of playing time in the last game of the season. Don't understand that.
So you think he plays over Urosh? Like you have him as the center, or do you have Fulkerson at the center?
I mean, so if I don't go Kumwa, I'm just going to go at least. And again, this is day one too, because I do not believe Rick Barnes is going to start a freshman post, and there's some reasons to that. I mean, one of those being you talked about that maturity factor. Being physical in the paint is very, very different than playing in the backcourt. It's very different. So I mean, there's definitely some reasons. Now, I still would have loved to see Corey Walker and DJ Burns, but I definitely understand to an extent. So if I don't go Kumwa, I mean, I'm going to go Kennedy, Victor Bailey. I mean, it's small ball. Victor Bailey Jr. It's guys you've seen. Josiah Jordan James, and then Fulkerson. And that's kind of relying on Fulkerson coming back. You could see Rick Barnes' hand get forced as far as playing freshman goes.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Kumwa isn't able to take that next jump and Urosh doesn't improve any, you have to look for somebody else.
Right.
Because I don't think you can get by with playing small ball, really. Maybe you can because you might have better shooters this year. As far as Justin Powell and Kenny Chandler, guys that can create their own shot. But, if you can't, then you have to have some kind of post presence. And
right.
I just don't know if I like Kumwa and Fulkerson on the floor at the same time.
Right. For sure. So that's my I mean, again, question on the starting five. I think Brandon Hunley Hatfield could be, if he were classified, again, Jonas Aduke could be, but it also may force Rick Barnes' hand. So we will certainly see. I do know you're going to have a ton of talent on that roster. That's what I do know.
Yeah, and everybody that, guys that left, as far as going pro, you hate to see that kind of talent leave, but the guys who enter the transfer portal, who cares? I mean, right. It's honestly better for Tennessee. They on paper, they look a lot more talented based on who they lost and who they've gotten so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be better situations for both those guys. So,
yeah,
no concern. No concern there. But,
yeah, Brandon Hunley Hatfield is supposed to make his decision tomorrow. So I know his college decision. I guess the reclassified will probably be made tomorrow as well.
I mean, I guess it probably depends on the need, because if he goes to a school that can't fit him in, then he wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
So it's got to be based on that too.
The crystal ball is coming in. I'd like to think that Tennessee feels pretty good. We lose Caleb?
No, I'm here. You're good.
Okay. I was like, oh God, where'd he go? Yeah, I think Tennessee likes their chances going into tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Any other basketball before we move on?
That's all I got.
All right, let's do it. Baseball. Let's talk about the win over Western Carolina first before we get into this weekend. I know everybody's chili's already hot for the weekend.
Chili's hot.
But let's talk a little bit about the win over Western Carolina last night.
Yeah, so you scored in 8 of the 9 innings. You didn't score in the first, but you scored a run in every single inning. After that, you had 16 hits on the night, no errors, 14 runs. It's hard to really complain offensively.
Mm-hmm.
I thought pitching struggled a little bit, but also when you're pitching so many guys, I feel like it's hard to get in a rhythm.
Right.
So obviously you don't want to give up. Your starting pitcher shouldn't give up 3 earned runs in the first inning. I get that. And then one of your closers, Redmond Walsh, who actually got the win, he gave up 3 runs. You don't want to see a veteran guy like that give up 3 runs to Western Carolina. So from a pitching standpoint, I thought they struggled a little bit, but you got the win, so it's hard to complain. And I think Tennessee would take that close win, maybe some pitchers getting a little beat up, to get Max Ferguson going.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He was 4 for 4, 6 RBIs, hit a home run, a double, and two run singles, and then hit a walk. So, that's as much as you can give in a game. And he did it as your leadoff batter. He led the game off with a double. So, Tennessee really liked what they got from Max Ferguson, who's he struggled a little bit this season. Was a preseason All-American, so you want to see him get going. I think that only makes his team a lot better if you're able to see him kind of build on his performance last night. Also, another guy, Kyle Booker, went 3 for 3 last night with an RBI, a walk. He's a guy that's really made the most of his time in these midweek games, and you're getting to see him have a little bit of playing time in some weekends. And I think he's going to be a special player for Tennessee down the road.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you don't want to give up a ton of runs. I don't know how great this, Western Carolina team is offensively. I do know that they have scored a ton of runs this season. They have only been held – they were held to 2 one time, and that was against Tennessee in Knoxville. So definitely, you're not looking at a team that you're like, why did they explode on you? No, I mean, they've done okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a pretty good team. They hit the ball well last night, as good as really anybody has against Tennessee. So it's hard to take anything away from them. Yeah, that's Tennessee's not best pitching, but they're not pitching their ace or anything against Tennessee because they want to save them for weekend games.
Yeah,
so
games that matter to them too.
And like I mentioned earlier in the show, Vanderbilt had a close game to Eastern Carolina last night. They only won that game 6-4. So I mean that just happens in midweek games. When you have that 3 next to your name, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And Western Carolina brought it last night.
Right. Hey, you got the win. That's all that matters. Talked about that. Win is a win is a win is a win. That's it. So go get the dub.
Absolutely. So Vanderbilt this weekend, man.
Vanderbilt. It's gonna be a great series. It's gonna be a great series. I can't wait.
I looked on Vivid Seats today, and the only tickets available are $278 a piece.
That's stupid. That's dumb. I hate
crazy.
that because, people legitimately want to go, but I'm like, you shouldn't. Honestly, you shouldn't pay that.
No, I would never pay that in a million years.
So,
I don't know if I can make myself pay that for a College World Series game.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't pay that for a Tennessee football game outside of a very, very important game. I'm not I don't mean an Alabama game that Tennessee's actually going to be competitive in and they're undefeated. Nope, still wouldn't pay that.
An SEC championship game.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's it. I hate that is that's how, because you want people to go. It's just, and I'm glad there's excitement and a need. There's obviously supply and demand for it. There's demand for it, which is good, but that's absurd.
Yep. So Vanderbilt's coming off a series loss to Georgia, a team that Tennessee was able to take the series 2-1 against, and Georgia just beat them bad. Yeah. They had 7 home runs in game 1 against, not all against Rocker, but a game at Rocker pitch, they had 3 against Rocker. Won that game 14-2. Vanderbilt won the second game 5-2, and then Georgia just come out guns a-blazing for that rubber match and beat them 9-1. That was kind of surprising to me. A team like Vanderbilt, I thought they would probably take care of business in game 3, and just didn't have it.
Right.
You mentioned what time you think the game's going to be over Friday, and I said it'll probably be pretty quick when you have guys like Chad Dallas and Rocker pitching. I think Rocker had 12 strikeouts. He gave up 3 home runs, but he had 12 strikeouts. And I think Leiter had like 13 in his outing on Saturday. So
that's stupid. That's unreal.
I mean, you're going to have some strikeouts this weekend. You got to suck it up and make the most of your at-bats. Get them into some deep counts. Get those guys out of the game. Don't let them go 7 innings strong and, have, that bullpen come in, which, they got some dudes in that bullpen as well that can come in and finish games off. So, make it hard on those pitchers this weekend. And,
that's a positive Tennessee too. We talked about they've struggled in some areas offensively, especially bringing runners that are in scoring position home. But one thing they've done a great job doing is getting into some long at bats, and whether they get out or not, they're making pitchers grind.
Yeah,
and just putting them in bad situations early in games. So I think that's going to be one thing Tennessee's. The fact that they've been able to do it all season, I expect them to continue this weekend. Is they may make Vanderbilt make that switch from Rocker earlier than normal.
Yeah. I think if you've seen Tennessee play this weekend, they've done exactly that. They've made it tough on everybody, tough on pitchers, getting deep in counts. Yeah, they give up some strikeouts every now and then, but they get on base a lot because they are patient at the plate. If you're not going to throw strikes, we're going to get on base. You're going to have those strikes against Tennessee, and Tennessee does a good job of hitting the ball too.
And that's another thing too, is like how many baseball coaches. I mean, obviously, if you're giving up 13 strikeouts, that's a different story. But how many baseball coaches are going to be mad at you if you come back in the dugout after an 8-10 pitch at bat and you struck out? I mean,
right? Yeah.
Not a lot of them are going to be super pissed off. Now, if it happens 13 times, that's another discussion. But,
if it's happened 13 times, they should be out of the game by the.
Well, that's another thing too. Is if their shoulder or elbow hadn't fallen off, then they earned it. And
tip your cap.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got 13 strikeouts on those long at bats that Tennessee's been able to grind out, you've at least seen like 4 pitchers. So
you earned it.
You've had your chance. You've had your chance. But I think that's going to be it's kind of like an interesting thing that. To see how you're not just talking about can Tennessee score this weekend. It's like can they get into those long grueling at bats with these pitchers, or are these Vanderbilt pitchers going to be able to get out of situations early on? We'll see. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and Tennessee's done a great job when adversity hits, like that Saturday game. Like Tennessee had 1 hit going to the 6th inning, and we're able to score 5 runs in that inning. Mm-hmm. Tennessee, like the spotlight doesn't matter. The situation doesn't matter. But Vanderbilt, it seems like, if you jump on them a little bit, they might just like kind of lay down. That's what it seemed like last weekend against Georgia. Now, obviously, I didn't watch every single bit of that, but that's what it seemed like when adversity hit. They just like, okay, well, we got the next game. So hopefully Tennessee's able to take advantage. This weekend, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The number 2 and number 3 team in the country face off against one another. I don't know when that's the last time it's probably never happened at Lindsey Nelson. So definitely something you want to get to if you're able to get in the games, be loud, be proud, and go Vols.
Go Vols, baby. Hey, Lindsey Nelson, I tweeted it, was one of the that's the coolest I've ever seen that place. And I've been fortunate that I've seen some cool weekend series there in the last couple of years, but do it again. Tennessee officially put in their bid for regional and super regional hosts. So go prove why Knoxville and Lindsey Nelson should be super regional and regional hosts.
Yeah. Also, let's fill that thing up, man. Let's pay the fine. Who gives a crap?
So is there a fine, or is it just, are you sure it's not just like the state regulations, like Tennessee's regulations and cities?
I don't know. If it's a fine, pay it.
I don't think there would be a fine for the SEC.
So is Mississippi just wide open?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would guess. Isn't Mississippi kind of like permanently existing at half capacity?
Well, I mean, Ole Miss, you saw that.
Right. I just mean like the state. Isn't the state of Mississippi just kind of currently they're always just kind of like half full.
Their flag's always at half mast.
Yeah, they're never full mast. I mean, it's always like it's never. Thanks, Brutus. Shake it off, babe. It's empty. So it's like you're always walking around social distancing. So have a little fun, you know?
Brutus is ready to see some more of Kirby Connell. That man's fired up.
Dude, Kirby Connell, he's got the stash. He's got the flow. The man's got swag.
He does. A ton of it.
No cap.
Yeah, enough to give out. Like, he's got some to blow.
He might need to give some out to the rest of the bullpen this weekend. We'll see.
It's going to be a good one. I think they're on TV
Saturday.
That's right.
They may be on Friday too, but
they are on Friday. Friday is ESPNU. Saturday is the SEC Network. That's right.
Good. ESPNU, the channel that no one currently has. Can't wait. Ridiculous.
So apparently when they're on the road, apparently it's up to the school for like broadcasting wherever they put it, and that's why I was on ESPN Plus right now, because I guess Western Carolina was just like, I don't care. I don't really care. Like, if you're not playing the number 2 team and like the number 3 team in the country, wouldn't you want that?
Oh, I have ESPN Plus, so that's why I'm not angry. I was like, it was on last night.
Oh, I don't have it.
It's probably not worth it, but I did it.
Gotcha.
There was, what was it? I guess a lot of, there was a reason I got it, but I can't remember. There is a lot of soccer on ESPN Plus, but I don't know what else is on there. I like it though. It's $4.99 a month, I think. I can't remember.
That's not that bad.
It's not terribly expensive, no. And it gets you all of like the ESPN like shows. Like I can watch Peyton's Places, 30 for 30s. It has those Peyton breakdown videos,
articles and stuff. Is that ESPN Plus too?
Ooh, I don't know.
I was just curious. Because I know you have to have a subscription for that, so I didn't know if that got you that.
That's ESPN Insider, right? And I don't know if that's a part of ESPN Plus or not.
Gotcha.
But it definitely has its own name, so I'm not sure. No. Cool.
All right.
Do we have any questions? I've tried to keep up with the ones we've gotten in the chat. Any additional ones that came in before the show?
Honestly, haven't really checked, but I can.
You don't have any. It's fine. I don't care.
I didn't see any. No, we don't have any.
Okay. So, stupidity. What we got for stupidity today? Drop in the dumbest thing you all have heard or seen or read this week.
Okay.
And it can't be from me. So drop in the chat. You have to leave out things I said. I know I've said a lot of stupid stuff. So moving on.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah, let's do it.
The preseason FPI rankings. Did you see this?
I did not.
Mississippi State is number 8 in the country.
That seems like an atrociously hot take.
Yeah. They're above Florida and Auburn and LSU and Ole Miss.
I can go ahead and say that. I can boldly say that's dumb.
I mean, who did they – I know they got in a fight at the end of their bowl game, but who did they play? It was somebody like not very good.
Was it Tulsa? Tulane?
Maybe it was Tulsa. That sounds right. Maybe it was Tulsa. I don't know.
State football bowl game. And Mike Leach is like up hugging fans.
Yeah. And then they asked him about the fight, and he was just like, Tulsa. Yeah, we won. Like, what?
Well, they asked him about it. Like, he probably barely knew it happened. They asked him about it immediately after. He was like, they were like, what are you going to say to your team? And he was like, I'm going to tell them not to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did you expect him to say?
Right.
But
yeah, number 8, Mississippi State.
Yeah, that's a bad take.
Like, I don't like. What did they get?
Nobody knows. Not even the person who wrote that article. They're even confused.
Like, if you put Ole Miss, I'm like, okay, they can score points, but Mississippi State,
right?
I'll say this: Mississippi State shouldn't be much better than we are next year. They shouldn't be 40 rankings above us.
Right. Correct. That's. I'm looking for my stupidity. I thought I had one, and now I don't know where it's gone.
Did you see the USC player There's a picture of the guy who like he
No,
was like in the cold, or maybe it's some kind of tub at the practice facility.
they got a picture of the phony.
Yeah.
No, do you have it? Can you show me it? I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but send that to me. I can barely kind of see that. He looks like he could be a football player, though.
Yeah, he doesn't look.
So it's not as atrocious as we originally thought.
Right.
So that's a positive, I guess.
But it's still like no one's like, yeah, who is this guy?
I'm glad they just kind of let it go. That makes me happy.
Yeah, when you need bodies, you need bodies.
That's a good point. I would take it right now.
Right. I mean, how good is this guy fielding punts?
His tan line kind of looks like he's been wearing one of those bras.
The catapult.
Yeah. Who did he get to take this photo?
Maybe a freshman. He's like, hey, freshman, take this picture. The guy's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
I'm like, hey, what is going on? That's amazing. Credit to that guy, living out everyone's dream.
I just want to know what his story was. When people ask him, like, who are you? He's like, oh, I transferred from
Probably. I'm a walk-on.
Yeah.
Probably so. I don't think I have any. It's been a night. I'm feeling in a kind of mood. Today was a good day. I don't have any stupidities. Sorry, guys. I came unprepared.
What do you think about Boston College's New Balance deal?
I'm a big New Balance athlete fan. I think New Balance makes some underrated athletic stuff. I'm curious to see, so apparently their football team's not going to be New Balance, but everybody else is.
Oh, really?
I know their soccer jerseys look good. Somebody's New Balance basketball right now, and they look good. New Balance baseball, I haven't seen jerseys, but I mean, they've been making cleats for a while.
Yeah, they make some jerseys. They do a pretty good job with that as well.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of New Balance. So, yeah, I like it. I think it's a good move. Cool move, I guess. I don't know.
I do have one more. Do you have any?
No, that was it. Or okay. I didn't have any at all. So that's all.
So the Dallas Cowboys says while the Dallas Cowboys are never short on current superstars, okay, their legacy was built on legends. Eddie George becomes the most recent legend to join a collegiate staff as head coach. Why are the Dallas Cowboys talking about Eddie George like it's like he was a superstar there?
Yeah, wait, what?
Was he there for one season at the butt end of his career?
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I don't think Eddie George would consider himself a Dallas Cowboy, right?
I mean, if you were born, I mean, I only knew that because I watch football. But if I was just a casual Titans fan, you'd probably have no clue that Eddie George played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
How many Eddie George jerseys do you see when the Dallas Cowboys play in the stadium? You don't see any.
It's a great point.
You see a ton at the Titans game. He's a legend with the Titans, not the Cowboys. That's a stupidity.
Eddie George Houston Oilers jersey is on one of my jerseys I need. The throwback Oilers.
I got you, man.
Eddie George. Yeah, I need to do it.
That's all I got for stupidity.
Well, guys, appreciate it. It's always fun. We'll be back on Sunday. Yes, I believe so. Back Sunday, talking about a series sweep over Vanderbilt. Speaking into existence. Sorry. We're going to reverse that. We'll be back Sunday talking about a series sweep over number 2 Vanderbilt. Can't wait.
If we get a series sweep over Vanderbilt, we might have to push the show to another day.
That's fine. Yeah, we can get hammered. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
So that's good with me. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Guys, that's all we got.
Love y'all. Have fun.
Appreciate you listening in. Go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.